March 26, 2013. Sean Hall here. We are at CORK in historic Riverside talking with Mr. Morrison Pierce. He's having a fundraiser here on Friday evening, to raise money for his One Spark project entitled Pandora's Box. And One Spark is going on when?
April 17th through the 21st, just a few weeks away.
Excellent.
Big event.
How long have you been in CORK? Are you an original?
I was the one, well, in this building. This is CORK East where we're at now. There's 3 galleries with CORK. You have CORK West, CORK East, and now CORK North. I was just probably a week or two shy from getting a studio in CORK West, but someone beat me to that studio, so I had to wait for this studio here at CORK East. And when I saw the build-out process and I knew the other artists that were coming in, I loved this building from the beginning. This was November of 2011 when they started the build-out, and I moved in February of 2012. So I've been here a little over a year, just a year and a month, but it's been a very exciting year. Lots changed in Jacksonville in the last year for the better, in my opinion, at least for the artist, as far as having a place to work and a new sense of existence, in my opinion, with the arts in Jacksonville. Not necessarily even relying on the public anymore, but relying on one another, and we're all in a bigger and stronger group.
Absolutely. Tell me about Pandora's Box.
Oh, Pandora's Box is an idea that Chance Isbell, also known as Hatchet Face, and I came up with for One Spark. And we were actually, I had came up with the idea, a different idea, where we wanted to go in. We were part of the show March Dice, which opens Friday. Chance and I had started doing these drawings a few months ago, and they were just small little drawings. I was like, oh, this would be great for us to turn into a book. And he liked the idea, and so we just kept doing them. And there ended up being like 12 or 15 of them, and they were 11 by 14 drawings, but heavily painted, nice, different style that either one of us had been accustomed to. So we did that, and I was like, well, wouldn't this be cool if we did a book and then we turn it all into a wheat paste, and then we go down to One Spark and we try to find a space, and we'll go in and wheat paste the whole room, and then we have our book for sale. And he and I both thought, it was a pretty good idea. So I go to talk to some people that I know that were on the kind of the One Spark committee, and they all did not like that idea at all. So then I just off the top of my head pitched 2 or 3 different things out to them, and they were just looking at me like, no, 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 no. And I was like, well, damn, I'll just be like David Blaine and put myself in a plexiglass box and live in it for a week. And then they all shook their head and they're like, oh yeah, that'd be great. That's just what One Spark needs. And I was like, half jokingly like, damn, I wasn't really wanting to do that, but okay, I guess now I have to. So I came back to the studio and I told Chance, well, they like this one. So he and I came up with a mock idea of what it would look like, what a cube would look like, a Pandora's box made of plexiglass would look like. And then we submitted all that online during the online registration for creators, and then they loved our idea. But we changed it up from it living in a box to we're actually going to make it a living animation cell. We're going to actually turn it into, by using acrylic paint markers and other Sharpies and probably maybe even a little bit of paint. We're going to turn this into a living animation cell. Now, I've been the last 2 weeks really been, every night when I go, drift off into dreamland, I've been really taking this one idea into my dreams every night about what I want to put into this box. And it has to do with where we are right now in America and what we face right now in America. And it's something that most artists really don't tackle. They don't really tackle current events. They don't really tackle what's actually going on. So if you look at any artist's work, they learn how to paint. Somebody, that which takes a few years at best. Then they find their subject matter, they paint it, and then they fucking die. Well, now if an artist is any sense of their worth, they got to fight the system. And what's happened now, what got signed this week, was the bill that Monsanto is over the government now. Monsanto will not be regulated anymore. Monsanto got a free pass, and Obama signed it into law, the Monsanto Protection Act, which is the most ridiculous act to ever come across that what should be considered a prestigious desk with a prestigious pen connected to a prestigious man representing the millions of Americans and all the other free people on the planet. But that bill that was signed, regardless of all the other things, that bill is designed to definitely kill. It is an extermination bill because Monsanto, if you look at anything that has to do with the company and all the things that they are invaded in every facet of your life, it's designed to kill you at an early age or to just mentally fuck you up and destroy you. Whether your health and your wealth are all that you really have. And the wealth meaning your hands, your creation. It doesn't matter about your coins in your pocket or your car that you drive. So my idea that I take to sleep every night is how would I wake people up to what they are actually, how would I wake them up to let them know that this is being happened to them. This is designed to destroy them. This is something that they should all be standing up against. It doesn't matter where you are on gay marriage or gun control or this or that. If you don't have healthy food to eat, you'll all be dead anyway. It doesn't matter. You won't have to worry about your guns or anything like that. You'll be dead. So an artist's responsibility, in my opinion, is to wake people up. It's to wake people up to what they're facing. The news fucks it all up because all news is a lie. You can be the artist, the writer, the filmmaker, the musician, and dissect what's going on out there in the world, and then throw it back to the audience, which is your fellow citizens, your fellow humans, your fellow brothers and sisters. We don't get a lot of that in art anymore. We definitely don't get it with music or film. Definitely don't get it with television, and definitely don't get it with the news. You have pieces of it with writing, because writing is the fastest way to communicate with people and get them to understand that, hey, this is going on. And then above that, it's art. And if you can shake a person to the core and make them wake up a little bit, then you have a lot of awake people that now have to do with something. Imagine if you have all the millions of Americans that want to be like the European countries and Russia and China that don't want Monsanto in their lands, that don't want to deal with Monsanto products.
The product has been banned in many countries already.
Oh yeah, you can pull it up right now on the internet, and the list of the countries that want it banned are your healthier nations. I mean, we are become not only are the people completely brainwashed, and actually not only are they brainwashed, they have no brain waves to produce original thought. I look back at the last 10 years of America, and I compare America 2003 to 2013 to Germany 1933 to 1943. 10 years of like, wow, how much tyranny got passed over from one hand to another with the presidency and wars, to now you have all Americans scared to speak up. Like, I'm even speaking freely, but I'm probably more afraid of where this video would go and how it would be perceived as who I am as a person, because you're not even allowed to think anymore. Yeah. Before long, we'll be faced with a thought police and 20,000 drones in the sky. Is that America anymore? Is that what you want? I mean, armed drones patrolling over you, cell phones that can record anything that you say or do, or where you think. GPS tags, the smart meters in your house, the TSA on the streets. Now, all those things are real life. We are actually dealing with those. And then that's not the 70s that I grew up in. That's not the 90s that I became a young man in. And now just 10 years later from that to experience the new America, where you can't blame any one person. You can't blame Obama. You can't blame Bush. It's the people that you don't see. It is companies like Monsanto and General Electric and Chevron and let's see, Northrop Grumman, and anything that deals with wanting to control and exterminate you. Those are the companies that you need to be voicing your opinion about, speaking up. You need to get off of your ass and say something and do something and be something, because your life is going to be over very fast with all the things that the new technology that you think. Now that you say the new technology is everybody's new fashion craze is going to be the wristwatch. The newest craze will be how fast will the smartwatch be replace the smartphone. Yeah. And it's all a distraction.
Dick Tracy style.
Dick Tracy will be coming to life for us. I'm already talking to my son about, he's going to, I showed him the film The Terminator, the original one. And I'm like, son, this is really what you will probably be facing in your life. You will actually probably be fighting a robot. And he at first thought I was crazy. But I'm like, well, look, here, I'll just punch something up. All these drones are here. They're going to be flying over you. Then I could punch up another article. Oh, well, look, they have human robots here that are already designed to bleed. So it's like the technology that they had back in the 80s to develop this is now here on the forefront of what you're actually going to deal with. I think I'll probably deal with, I'm only 40 years old now, I think I will probably see Terminator-style robots on the street myself. I will be like, wow, here I was probably talking to Shelton 5 years ago, and now I'm looking at not only drones patrolling the skies. They're going to build a drone base here in Jacksonville. Yeah. The Navy is going to have their Predator drone that is going to patrol all the seas. Yeah. I have friends that have already seen a Predator fly over low overhead from here to the base at Navy base in Mayport, to where that's where it will be stationed at. This is like real life sci-fi that
we're getting more drones, while at the same time Florida is closing air traffic control towers.
Oh yes,
14 are set to be closed because of
I read it was 350 nationwide that they wanted to close. I think it was 353 if I'm not mistaken. I read that this week that they wanted to close, and then 14 in Florida. Well, if they want to put all the drones up and the planes, I think they just basically want to play bumper cars. They had the drone spotting in Manhattan. The pilot said that 2 weeks ago when they had it, and now they had to look into it. That none of these people have clearance yet. The FAA hasn't even really cleared anyone to have these drones. They were doing a study because you have thousands of jet planes that fly from coast to coast, not only in America, but they come from other parts of the world. So you're trying to navigate a drone that's unmanned, but it was flown by remote control, and then a pilot. So just the ability to expose human error and those two coincidences, I don't want to fly anymore. I haven't flown since 2005. I don't like to fly.
Let alone the role of like hackers and terrorists.
Oh, yeah.
And China, North Korea.
Well, they had the drone thing in Austin, Texas, where they paid somebody $1,000 and they hacked the drone and they brought it down in Austin, Texas.
Really?
Yeah, that's a real story.
Oh, God.
We'll pull that up right now. It's already happened. It only did with $1,000 and the tools, and it was a college professor that showed his kids how to do it. They went out and did it, and they pulled one down. Yeah. And that's how easy it is. And that's just someone.
That's one guy you don't want to ride on a plane with.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, it's not only that, but you look. That's part. So back to the boxes. I actually want to incorporate Monsanto and the drones and dead American zombies. If you could step into my head right now, it would be, my idea is like rolling fields of crops that won't grow, with a farmer planting the seeds, and he's stuck looking at this. He's planting all, because it's ConAgra and all these other companies that own all the food that's produced in America that other countries don't even want. I mean, you can go to a store right now, and everything that they're selling to you is all Monsanto products, because Monsanto's bought it all. Everything is synthetic, and it's corn. 90% of corn now is synthetic corn.
Yes.
Corn is when you get to that percentage of synthetic corn, you can't go back. Yeah. your ground is barren. If you want to look at it, it's the chemtrails in the sky that affect the Monsanto crop. The chemtrails to the Monsanto crop. The chemtrails are releasing something in the air that they are saying is cooling the planet, but in actuality it's not cooling the planet. It's aluminum that has to settle on the soil to react with the Monsanto crop. And then boom, you have this Monsanto crop that's been soaked in aluminum and all these other chemicals. Yeah. And yes, it's going to grow and yes, it's going to look pretty, but it's designed to fucking kill you. No one in their right mind would eat this shit, but millions of Americans are eating it every day.
Yeah.
So someone needs to get up, and not in a I'm a crazy person or I'm a holistic person or I'm a this person, because all those people get shot down.
Yeah.
They lose respect very quick for.
It's about pointing out it's about pointing out the facts.
Yeah.
Like the research, the evidence, it's already there. The European Union has already called them out.
Oh yeah.
If your product is so bad that all of Europe agrees. They agree about nothing else, but they agree they don't like Monsanto.
Oh, yeah. They don't want it in.
I mean, these guys, they've taken, they drove so many of the independent producers out of business at the early stage of their game, and then basically took one of our major staple crops, corn. I mean, it's right up there with rice, potatoes, whatever.
Yeah, you're going to have to
And they poison it.
Yeah, they poisoned it. It's for control.
And it's consumed mainly as corn syrup, too.
Which is in all the gums, which is in all the sodas, which is in every sweetener now, is all aspartame. That's what no one even talks about anymore. There is no real sugar anymore. Sugar is changed into a chemical that was not sugar. It's something that is, why do you think, if you want to look at what Monsanto's done, it's created all the cancers, tenfold, hundredfold, thousandfold. Men, women, children, all the different types of Alzheimer's, all that things. It's directly connected to diet. You can look at people smoked 2 packs of cigarettes in the 50s and 60s and didn't get fucking cancer. They lived to be 80 and 90 years old. People, and they're not even going into smoking cigarettes, but it was the diet. All the food was different back then. The food now is so synthetic that your body is not getting any nourishment at all, whatsoever. And you're just basically walking around in a shell of a skeleton, and you have, I believe the diet is what's controlling the original thought in the way that no one is going to react to anything. Yeah. No one's going to react to anything. Millions of Americans protested the Iraq War. You can go back and look at all the photos all around the globe. In 2003, when millions of Americans flooded all the major cities in America.
Biggest protest
since, even bigger than the 60s. Don't do this, don't do this, not in our name, not in our name, not this, not that. And it was after 9/11, it was after all the anger was over, it was after all the lies had been sold, and people still got up and faced it. Not anymore. Americans are sheep, and they are asleep, and the wolves have taken over. The Americans are scared in their little corner. They're fearful of every little propaganda scheme that anyone could come up with. If you look at the propaganda schemes and you see the little people pulling the strings, they're all fucking dirty, disgusting, evil, devil-worshipping people. You got to recognize that good and evil is real. Good and evil is real. Good and evil is a battle. It's not only a battle for your soul, it's a battle for your mind, it's a battle for your will. But it exists, heaven, hell, earth, all those things are real. You don't have to believe in bullshit. Just believe in the truth. Believe that you're in a fucked up place. Shit ain't getting better because everybody's sitting on their couch thinking it's okay. They'll ride down to the little store, they'll buy the little stupid shit, they'll come back to their house and they'll poison their body. They won't even be none the wiser. Yeah. And that's how the system wins. And if you want to be in the land of the free, home of the brave, most people don't even realize what that means anymore. Land of the free, home of the brave. They're just asleep. Do this all day and stare at this piece of glass and rub your thumbs together like you're magicians. That ain't shit. That ain't shit. Your life is a disgusting piece of nothingness. You need to take all of that away, and you step out into the sunshine, and you look into this earth that's floating around in outer space. And that you're on a planet, and you're only in this body of this shell for a little bit of time. Drop the devices, step out, face the facts that you are something that is greater than even yourself and contribute. Contribute to society. Contribute to better your man. That's really why I became an artist, was I wanted to contribute something that, how can I help you? Or what can I get you? Fuck that. That's nothing. You will never be remembered. You never even existed when you're only that. So please, step outside of that. That's what Pandora's box is really about to me, is stepping outside of.
There's no refuge in anonymity. There's nowhere that anyone can run anymore, because these methods have been exported to the whole world. Back in the day, cats used to say, "Oh, well, I'll just go to Europe. I'll just go to Canada."
Yeah.
Like they want a bunch of Americans going over there.
They don't.
Yeah.
Americans are vile people. I lived in Europe for a year. I traveled the countries, and Americans are feared, but they're not respected. And fear versus respect is two different things. I'd rather be respected than feared, because respected means you have place in the world. But if we're going around poisoning all the other countries and killing them without hesitation, how could they ever respect us? They fear us. And fear, I look at us as David and Goliath. And really, we're Goliath. We're not David. When I grew up, where I grew up, I thought we were David. I thought we had that David sense of mentality. But no, we're Goliath now. Goliath would do the things that America does. David would never. David would protect his flock, and we are no protectors of any flock. All the things that we create in the name of protection are all lies to push you along, to let somebody grab your balls and stick their fingers in your daughter's cunt. Is that what David would do? No, but that's what Goliath would do to his people that's following him, and that happens to Americans every day worldwide. Yes, that's true. Go to the airport and see what happens to you. Walk through a naked body scanner that radiates your body, or be assaulted physically. That if you were on the streets and that happened,
It'd be a fight.
That person would be arrested for a felony.
Yeah.
But yet you do it daily, freely, to travel. And how? Why? Because
In order to protect ourselves from people who are already dead.
Exactly. And don't really exist anymore. Or, well, we've created enough hatred to where they do exist now. Yeah. I feel like if you were one of the millions of Iraqis that died, those people, I mean, geez, man, what did we do to them to make them deserve to be dead? I mean, all we really want to do is steal their resources, their gold, and I mean, who the fuck wants to live in a desert? Yeah. If I were any one of those people living in a desert, which is all those countries is all desert, barren land, I'd be like, geez, man, leave me alone. Y'all got the better resources, supposedly. I'm in the desert in 120-degree heat. All we have is oil. It replaced the need for oil. The war is won. Overnight. The need for oil is, we spend $250 million a day on oil to fight wars. $250 million on gasoline and oil. That's the cost. Yeah. That's a real number. I've done my research.
And who do we buy that gasoline and that oil
from? We're buying it from the people that we're fighting. And it's a battle that you'll never win. I talked to my...
Thank God they don't put anything in the oil.
I talked to someone that I know...
Like lace our gasoline with DMT.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I talked to someone in the military that I know that says that the interest on our debt to China funds China's military. So, if the interest on a debt you owe to a country funds their whole military, how could you ever pay off the debt or go to war with that country? Because the interest just alone on the debt that you owe someone is what they're going to fight against you.
Well, that money can't be paid back. That debt can't be paid back. It's too
big. It says $16 trillion now, the debt. And I had listened to someone yesterday on the talk show that said by the time Obama gets out of office, nothing to do with Obama, with, for, against, whatever, but the national debt number by the time he gets out of office, $22 trillion.
Jesus Christ.
So that's $6 trillion, because the interest is never going to go away. And all those things are never going to go away. To where it'll never be done. So where what is the bad little boy with the credit card, or the bad little girl with the credit card spending like crazy, she's going to have to get the credit card taken away.
Yeah.
That's what happened in Greece. That's what happened in Italy. That's what happened in Ireland. That's what they try to do in Iceland. That's what they're doing in all the other countries is they're taking their credit card away. Austerity measures are going to come to America.
Yeah.
You thought it was bad now? Just wait in a couple of years. Wait till you start to see the photos of millions of Americans waiting in the bread line. The bread lines will be coming back. The soup kitchens will be coming back. They're going to be pushing you in there. It's welfare now. 50 million Americans are on welfare right now. Combined with the other assistance, it's 100 million Americans. We're only 300 million people. So that's 1 out of every 3 Americans now on some type of assistance. For long, it'll be 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 will be a threshold, because then what they won't let a 3 out of 3 be out of. It will never reach 3 out of 3 because they'll kill you before it gets 3 out of 3, because you're not producing anything at 3 out of 3. 1 out of 3, you're kind of holding on. That's why our debt is so high. That's why they're trying to trick everybody into buying shit that you don't need to try to get out of the debt, because they're in debt. If you look at where everything comes from, nothing comes from America anymore. It comes from Korea, it comes from China, it comes from Japan, it comes from countries that we are indebted to and in bed with. You don't buy. I bought. You know what I bought at the thrift store the other day? A vase to put some flowers or sticks or something cool for the table. It came from Romania. It's the first thing I've ever bought in my life from Romania. And that's where I bought it. It was only $2 at a thrift store, and it was beautiful, but it came from Romania. It had a little thing on the bottom, Romania. I was like, I've never owned anything from Romania. Yeah. Beautiful. You know, why not?
Yeah.
The thing next to it said China. The thing next to it said China. The thing next to it said China. But this one thing stood out because it said Romania. And I was like, that's beautiful. Yeah. For the name unknown on the bottom that no one will ever see. But I'll be the one to know that, hey, this shit came from Romania, not China. Yeah. You know, difference. Nothing against China. But they're producing everything.
China's handling their shit.
They're handling their shit fine. They got 1 billion people producing shit every day. They ain't worried about us, you know. Not to fight. Not to fight. Well, how was that? Is that a decent interview?
Oh, it's good. It's
we keep
still
going.
No,
I'm
sure.
ready.
We're at 27 minutes here.
27 minutes. Fundraiser Thompson needs fundraiser time?
Yes, sir. Let me ask you this. What role can art play, particularly in these times?
There we go. Okay, so let's finally get down to the nitty-gritty.
All right. Specific to yourself and what
well, I've always felt like I've sold out in what art can play, how art can play. Yeah, go ahead. Show me. No, smoke at the interview. It's like that.
Oh, no way, sir. That's illegal.
Oh, well, these are cigarettos. So anyway, pictures.
Fine smoking pleasure, courtesy of the good people at Marlboro.
Marlboro Light, you know it. Well, okay, art in our times and how it's defined. I mean, oh man. I think the only real way now is street art. I find that street art is the best way to communicate with people. Art in galleries, you're communicating with you want to communicate with those so-called upper class, but they're too asleep to not even get it. You can pull the wool over their eyes and make them see how stupid they are that they haven't contributed to society. But street art is the way to directly communicate. Like I could go and take a can of spray paint out there right now and spray paint something on the side of the building that people would ride down or walk down the road, probably 1,000 people a day, 7,000 people a week, that would look over and be like, what the fuck is that? Oh, shit. Well, let me think about this. That's 7,000 people that you could reach. And this is just one little street. There's other places that you could be in a more high visible area that would have a direct communication to other humans. We are in competition. Art is in competition with the media conglomerates. With corporations that are selling you shit from the time you get up to the time you go to bed. From the time you get up to the time you get to bed, your whole fucking life. Why is somebody trying to sell you something all fucking day, all fucking night, your whole fucking life? There is something wrong with that. Why do you need to be sold something all fucking day, all fucking night, 7 days a week? Why? If you look at if you go behind the umbrella, if you want to go behind the umbrella of any corporation, there is a reason why. Most things sold on TV today are drugs, I will guarantee you 75% of the commercials are drugs. 75%. The other, weight loss, tampons, nothing that fucking has anything to do with real people. Not that weight loss isn't a real issue, but if you were eating better food, you wouldn't be 500 fucking pounds.
Yeah.
But because you eat at McDonald's and Burger King all fucking day, and you haven't had a real decent meal your whole fucking life, yeah, you weigh 500 pounds, or 300 pounds, or 200 pounds, when you shouldn't weigh 200 pounds. You should weigh maybe 150, maybe 130. If you don't exercise, you get advertised things on a daily basis that you are fighting. So an artist...
That extra poundage is taking money out of your pocket by undermining your productivity. Having less energy, you're more irritable. You know?
Well, of course. You don't, yeah, you lose more in productivity because of how obese our nation is and how uneducated. Like, you look at anything, either join a system or you fight the system. Or you don't even know the system exists. Those three things. Most people don't know the system exists because they're just off in la la land. You start a conversation with a stranger and then they either think you're crazy because you told them stuff that they don't know anything about. And yes, you want to educate them because that's really your job. An artist's job is to educate. They need to let people in on the big secret. The big secret. And once you start to let people in on the big secret, it's a chain. It's a chain reaction. You know, so what if I know that all the shit that's being advertised to me is basically just there to poison me? It's there. You look at any checkout line, go to a checkout line anywhere in the world of America, just the world of America, just where I'm at. The rest of the world, who knows how they design it. I'm sure they design it pretty close, but maybe not. The left of it is all the bullshit propaganda stuff on the covers of magazines and newspapers and all kinds of bullshit. 90% of it is stuff that doesn't exist. The tabloid stuff doesn't really exist. The Hollywood bullshit and all that stuff. None of that's real. That's not even those real people. It's basically just a photograph with a couple little words that you've been tricked to believe. That doesn't do it. So that's a distraction. And then you look to the right. It's every fucking aspartame product you can imagine. From a candy bar to a gum to a chiclet to a Tic Tac to anything is sugar. So left propaganda, right poison. Boom. Left, right poison. So both of them basically are poison. And here you are down the middle just trying to get out of there. Just trying to get whatever you put in your little basket to get back to your little place to say, okay, this is me. Mm-hmm. I existed for another day. I shop every day, go out there and find stuff that I need to sustain myself for that day, and I'm done. But it's always the same thing. It's the same people, the same existence that me as an individual that realizes I've been woken up to this and say, oh yeah, this is it, or the person that didn't know it, that selected this and selected that and threw it in their basket and went to their house and believed the lie on one hand and the lie on the other. So the best thing to do is be the horse, try to eat as organic as possible, have the blinders on, just produce what you need. If you could, if you even knew a way, try to grow your own garden, try to join a co-op, try to do things like that. That's a way to begin to fight the system. Mm-hmm. As an artist,
and things like that are available right here in Northeast.
Oh yeah, they're available. I know a lot of the people that are involved in that because those people are good people. You can see it on their face. They have nothing against you. They don't want anything from you. They want to help you. And actually, the best way to help someone is to teach them about diet. Teach them about the stuff that they're putting into their body. I mean, I'm a smoker. That's the worst thing I put into my body. But everything else, I definitely watch because it's, it'll hurt you. It'll make you eat fast food and you feel horrible afterwards. There's a reason.
Corporate America's kind of reinforced the value of street art by the way they sort of shamelessly use it in their own
Oh yeah, I mean you
look at
world. If you were, I mean you look
Shepard Fairey.
Shepard Fairey. I mean
he's the man.
He's the man, but they branded his brand. They tried to arrest him last year. He's actually under a house arrest for a couple of years. Just for Giant Bay. I've got that stuff. I remember when he came through in the 90s, the late 90s, and I got a Giant Bay sticker from that music shop. It wasn't Theory Shop, but it was the one that Damien run.
Strip Mine.
Strip Mine. I had the stickers there because I used to always go there. They had the best, everything the best. That was great.
Strip Mine is my favorite. It's my favorite record store ever.
Yeah, they had it all.
Mm-hmm.
They had it, and that was when music was really good too. So you had a lot to choose from. Can't even really. It'd almost be hard if you could step back. I would just write down all the titles, and then I'd just try to surf them now. If I could go back to one day at Strip Mine and be like all the music that I was listening to back then, I would just write all the bands down because now I can't even fucking remember them all, and they're just. You just get lost in the oblivion, and all the new stuff comes out. You try to go back and find it, but it's hard.
Is there more? Sometimes I wonder, like, is there more art and music being produced now, or does the enhanced technology just make it seem that way?
I think there's more produced, but it's not quality. So yeah, there's more art, there's more music. Because anybody, I mean, we recorded 6 songs last week, and it was just easy. We recorded them on an iPhone through a 4-track. And it was very simple, and that was just 2 guys that don't know anything about music. And I've been doing Scary Rabbits for 6 years. I love them to death. I love the project. People come in and out. Saw it, the person I'm playing with now, he never did music either, but he picked it up. Boom, boom, boom. We made some recordings. We liked what came out. So yeah, I think it's a lot easier, and places like SoundCloud and other Bandcamp and other things for you to host your music, MySpace, Facebook, YouTube. You can shoot a video, you can put your music out there so people can see you and hear you if they want. And of course, there's ways that you got to be seen and heard and all that shit too, just to make it, get up to at least be seen and heard. Or you can stay in obscurity, which is fine. I mean, I look at Nick Drake; he's one of my favorite artists of all time. Nobody even know who the fuck he was, And they still, you mention Nick Drake to some people, they'll be like, who's that? Like, oh, he's an obscure Englishman in the 60s, and he made 5 good records, and they were all gold, in my opinion. And really, it was just him and a guitar, or him, and it was just beautiful. It was poetry. So I think that art doesn't do enough now with all the technology that's out there. Like, if art should be a force to be reckoned with, and art should back governments down. Art should be just as powerful as anything else, but it's not. If art was a weapon, we wouldn't be in the shape we're in, because artists basically surrendered. I mean, if you get any money for your art, you're probably just going to buy a house, you're going to buy your car, you're going to probably produce your art, but then your art's going to suck. You always have to be kind of hungry to make good art, in my opinion. Because once you start to get money, I mean, look at Damien Hirst. He's a fucking sellout, and he doesn't even make his art. And Gagosian dropped him. Gagosian is probably one of the best art dealers on the planet, and it has a name. He's been around for over 40 years. And he dropped him. He did spot paintings. It was bullshit. Butterfly paintings before that, bullshit. I saw him, met him in 2005. He did a retrospective of some of his work at Gagosian. Walked in. Yeah, nice. Good paintings, but he didn't even paint any of them. So, and when you do get, if you do become a successful artist, most of the time you're probably not even making your art anymore. I mean, watch Exit to the Gift Shop. It's a perfect fucking example. You can see the whole thing at the end and get a broke leg. Well, let me just hire 50 people to do all this shit and make my art. I'll just run around with a spray can. After all you really have to do if you want to be an artist is learn Photoshop. I don't know how to use Photoshop. I've painted over 4,000 paintings with my hands. I don't understand Photoshop. I'm trying. My son understands it. He can whip through it all. But I'd rather be an old master or an old guy and be like, yeah, I can say I've painted 4,000 paintings with these hands, with these brushes. I've got these same brushes for 10 years. They just sit in a cup. I pull them out. I'll do a painting. That to me is really, if you took away, sure, technology advances you, but if you couldn't plug in, you couldn't do shit. So it'd be best to learn how to do it with your hands. Because, why rely on a piece of plastic and a piece of glass to make you a piece of art? I'd rather rely on my hands. Sure, maybe you may be typing a few keystrokes or waving a pen around and drawing something. Granted, that's what all graphic designers do. But I don't really like graphic design art. I've always thought it sucked because it's just made on a computer. I'd still rather break it down and be making it with my hands, because that to me is what it was all about. You weren't in a cave making art on an iPad. You're in a cave fucking using blood or grapes or berries of some kind to make your cave markings. And that to me is, you're on a planet, let's do it. Street art. connects with the planet, because it will take a building that is attached to the planet and it will give you a message, and that message will be seen, and that's, to me, is respect. That's where art has gained its respect back, because I think art lost its respect from for a long time because it was just so shitty. Nobody was really producing anything good, and it took street art for everybody to come back to art in anyway, because street art became a cultural phenomenon, and it went around the world. Every country has its own style. You know, you can look at Brazil, and you can look at Russia. You can look at Chinese street art, Japanese street art. They're all different. It's all different. American street art. You can
Gaining increasingly in style.
Oh yeah, it increases in style. I mean, I go down to the best place to see street art, in my opinion, is in Wynwood. Wynwood, Miami. Our whole art district is built around street art, and they have all the best street artists in the world have pieces in Miami. And when you say a piece, it's not just a little tag or something. It's a building, and it's a beautiful. It may have started out. The guy started out writing his name on a wall, but he ended up covering a whole building with a beautiful work of art. That is, you could compare it to a Picasso in the Museum of Modern Art, but instead of paying $20 to go in the Museum of Modern Art to see that Picasso, you can walk down the street and see it for free. So the street artist took out economy, took out the money need, and just gave you a beautiful piece of art. That's why I have the highest respect for Sean Thurston. He is the best graffiti artist in Jacksonville. He thinks his stuff out. He'll make sketches. He'll go out there and he'll knock out a piece, and he'll do it like no one else can. And I have mad respect for him because he is a true genius. I mean, the piece he just did on Chambliss, I'm proud to say he sketched out one of the earliest things on my wall and went for it, and then I was like, wow, I see it now in spray paint, and it was just a beautiful thing to be like, wow, that guy, you know, he knows what he's doing. I've tried to spray paint for a couple of years. Even was fortunate enough to be in the show last month with some good graffiti artists, Sean being one of them. But I don't know much about spray paint. I've learned. I've taken these things, which is kind of a spray paint tool, and I'll use them to draw with, and it kind of has that spray paint kind of feeling, but I'm still going back to the hand. You know, spray paint is a very, very expensive habit. You know, and I don't go in and steal art supplies. So I mean, a good can of spray paint is going to cost you $10 a color. So that's, you know, if you want to do 5 colors, that's $50. Shit, you know, Sean's got, you know, hundreds of cans. So I mean, he's got thousands of dollars worth of spray paint just to go in and do a job, knock it out, because he's got, you know, that's what he does. I don't ever see me being a graffiti artist. I could do street graffiti and talk to you, but I'm not going to try to go out and do a piece like Sean, because that's just not me. I'll talk to you on canvas or paper or something, and in a much more controlled environment so I can think about it, and then try to just hope for the best in the gallery to talk to you. But I do go out and do some graffiti and street art stuff, but it's not anything like that. It's just a simple, you know, fuck Monsanto message, or a little quick, you know, wheat paste or something that'll give you a little idea that, oh yeah, Morrison does that, okay, cool. I can recognize that as his work on the street. But I don't ever want to consider myself a street artist. I just always say I'm just an artist, you know. People may want to consider me that, but I don't think I am. I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think you have to be really good to be considered a street artist, in my opinion. It's not just somebody who just thinks, oh, I'm just going to go out there and spray paint. You know, it's a lot more than that.
Who are some of the artists, some of the other artists that you really enjoy, that you're excited about right now?
Oh, artists that I really like. I'll tell you, my favorite artists, I can list them on both hands, I guess. Overstreet's probably my favorite painter. Mm-hmm. Jim Draper, I really like a lot. Sean, other than painting, I like his painting style. Crystal Floyd, best female artist, hands down. I've never seen better work. She's a genius. I like, let's see, Lily Coonan is probably one of the, well, she's another genius. Her work just amazes me. I like people that do installations. Just installations in this town are very rare, and she's probably the best at what she does, I would just say. That whole group, the whole Clay Canvas Studio group, is really cool people. I have mad respect for him. Tony Aobi, he's an amazing artist. And he's been here at the same time with me for over a year, and we both back and forth talking, and it's like you can see his paintings go for a year, see my paintings go for a year. So it's good to see him and me and like just painting together. It's fun, push each other. I really like let's see, other painters. Tom Hager, even though he's not a painter, he's an excellent photographer. Doug Ing, excellent photographer. They've actually turned me on to photography because I kind of always had a sore spot for photography, but they're next level photographers. You know, the piece that Doug's doing is going to transform a whole building downtown on Laura Street, the Barnett building. He's going to put some of his photography are going to cover up a whole block or a half a block, so it's going to be amazing.
Wow.
It's going to be amazing, and it's printed on vinyl, so it's beautiful. It'll be there forever. It's going to be beautiful. Good addition to the city. You know, Tom and his process is amazing. Tom and I really became good friends. He had a studio here for 6 months, and we got to really chat a lot, and I have mad respect for him. And then, of course, probably the best guy I know is Chance Isbell. His style is just, every time he comes over, he teaches me something new. I mean, maybe not a lot of people know him as an artist. He's a tattoo artist, but he's probably one of the better artists I've ever met. And he could look at something and change it, just at looking at it, and you would never have saw it. You know, and then he touches it, and then it changes it all within just a few strokes. And I'm like, why could I never see that? And I would be staring at it, trying to come up with something, and it would be my piece, and he would just come in and be like, and I'm like, damn, you're so smart. How did you do that? But he's a genius, you know. That's just what happens. Dolph James, amazing sculptor. I have a mad respect. Him and Jim are both 60. 60-year-old men, and they can hang tough with anybody. They get up every morning early, they come and they bang it out every day. Work. They're in their studio, they're working every day. And Dolph comes up with some of the most imaginative things I've ever seen with wood and metal, and combining the two together to where it's like something that, and then to go, like CORK is, if you're an artist here, you can just visit with all your other artist friends. And you can just walk into someone's studio and you're walking into their world. You know, Dolph has the largest studio in all of CORK. And you can see pieces that, in my opinion, it's like if you